It was just embarrassingly bad. They found a way. They did what they had to do, and they pull off the victory, 30-23. Mike Golic, by the way, has not fallen asleep. His picture was frozen. I kept looking up, saying, "Mike, you okay? Mike, you with us?" We have a minor technical difficulty, and we will have Mike Golic back soon. The 49ers at one point were leading that game 23-14, and that's when the Seahawks kind of woke up and worked their way back into it. Got it to 23-21 on a D. Eskridge touchdown catch from Russell Wilson, and then Jimmy Garoppolo sacked in the end zone for a safety by Carlos Dunlap. That's what tied it up. And then later in the third quarter, Tyler Lockett from Russell Wilson, 30-23, and that's when the scoring ended. That's what was weird about it. With 2:28 left in the third quarter, the scoring was done. And it was just see if you can hold them off after that, and the Seahawks were able to hold off the 49ers, who really needed that victory. And Jimmy Garoppolo, it was one of those days where you're reminded why they went out and got Trey Lance, and Trey Lance was trending during the game, which means that the 49ers fans were starting to wonder, when are we going to see some Trey Lance? That's the problem with having given up so much for a guy that you're not using. When your starter isn't playing well, Mike, your fans are going to clamor loudly for the young guy to be put in the game.
Well, they are. Listen, what they always say, the most popular player is the backup quarterback. But when the backup quarterback's a high draft pick, then it's like everybody is just waiting for that opportunity to say, okay, put him in. And we saw, obviously, earlier in the year he got put in because of injury to Garoppolo with his calf. And, if he played well enough to take the job, then who knows what would have happened. But as we've talked about, this is a guy we believe has a pretty high ceiling, but he hasn't played a lot of college. He hasn't played in a long time. So the expectation, at least in my opinion, that he was going to come in to an NFL system, even though NFL systems have been way more college quarterback friendly than they have in the past, and Trey was going to beat him out, I think was a long shot. Now, potentially down the road, could it turn out to be a better quarterback? I mean, certainly the 49ers hope so. You don't take a guy that high and don't want him to be, as good or better than the guy he's replacing. That's obviously why you got him. So those chances are going to continue. And, listening to Kittle at the soundbite coming back in, boy, he's right. What a weird game. What a great fake punt, by the way. It's phenomenal by Seattle and the long touchdown there. But a game that this really was kind of a wild game, and then to have it end the way it did.
Yeah, you had the 49ers. Well, let's take a look at Travis Homer, and off he goes with that fake punt. Scoreless early on, just the kind of thing that gives a team that needs a spark. That's the kind of thing you do when you have been struggling and when you feel like nothing's working. Hey, if our regular offense doesn't work, let's do a fake punt. And he faked Brandon Ayuk with the right to get out of my way. Too late, Brandon. You get it too late to make the tackle, but the Seahawks get off on the right foot. And at the end of the game, the Seahawks were in position to blow it open, 37-23, if they would have scored the touchdown. And that's when the 49ers stopped them with a fumble, drove it all the way down, and it came down to a fourth down play. They could have forced overtime, or who knows, maybe the 49ers would have gone for two and tried to get the walk-off win as opposed to taking the Seahawks to overtime. But, I suppose it was just a matter of time before Seattle woke up. I mean, just like with Pittsburgh, two teams that we're used to seeing be very good that had just fallen apart to the point where you can't believe in them in any given game, even though in any given game they're capable. It's possible they rise up and do what they each did yesterday, beat a division rival, a very heated rivalry, show up and get the victory at home.
Well, I mean, listen, they swept them, right? I mean, and for a Seattle team that's not going to be in the playoffs, there's certainly going to be pain in somebody else's side who's trying to make the playoffs. In this case, San Francisco, sitting on the right at that 7 slot right now. But as we said, we know how that's going to change. But you're right. I think that's where Seattle is this year. Just good enough to mess up somebody else. Because, as I said, they're not going to be there. At least I don't believe they are. Now, I know they brought in Adrian Peterson, who had a touchdown run, by the way, and and now tied with Jim Brown with 126 rushing touchdowns for 10th all time, because Pete Carroll said, we're in to win now. I just don't think they're going to be good enough to win now and get to the playoffs, but they're going to be good enough to win every now and then to mess somebody up. And to get the sweep now of San Francisco and to do it with a goal line stand the way they did toward the end of the game is obviously a great way to do it. But it still begs the question of, okay, every now and then you see a flash from Seattle of what moves they'll make next year to try and get, because they certainly don't want to, retool, or rebuild. I should say, they don't want to rebuild. They just want to kind of retool and keep going, especially if the biggest question out there is Russell Wilson going to be part of that team? Because if he's going to be part of that team, that's a reason to say we're in it to win now. He's an older quarterback who's still playing some really good ball, so you want to put a good team around him. So how quick can the turnaround be in Seattle?
And the other question is, will Pete Carroll be back as head coach of the team? One of the reports that emerged over the weekend from NFL media was that Jody Allen, the owner of the team, inherited the property along with the rest of the late Paul Allen's sports and other holdings. She's not happy with the direction of the team, so there could be some changes. You mentioned Peterson, though, and I'm a big Adrian Peterson guy, one of the all-time greats, and I'm amazed every time he ends up with another team. His stat line for yesterday, even though he gave us the highlight with the touchdown, 11 carries for 16 yards with a long of 7. That means that he had, other than the 7-yarder, he had 10 carries for 9 yards. That's not the kind of punch that the Seahawks are looking for in their offense, but he's always capable. You never know when you never bet against the guy. You never know what he's going to do. And one of the reasons that they signed him, Pete Carroll told reporters this on Friday, his work ethic, his attitude, it's a good influence on this group of young running backs that can't seem to develop consistency and performance the way they're accustomed to it from the days of Marshawn Lynch, Mike.
Yeah, but he's kind of listen, we know where he's going to be at the end of his career. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but he's also a guy right now, let's talk about the now, he's not going to give you that consistent, big game, and nor I don't think that's the expectation. So if that doesn't happen, I don't think people are going to say, oh, wow, I'm disappointed in what Adrian Peterson is doing. He's going to come in, he's going to hopefully score from the goal line, maybe give you a big run every now and then, make a big play every now and then. But for the most part, I think you're going to see that. You're going to see a very, X amount of carries for a very low average with the hope and the fingers crossed that he busts one or gets into the end zone. I think that's kind of where we are with Adrian.
Yeah, and that's what everybody expects at this point. And the Seahawks just need to do something, although people reacting to it's like, it's got a little of it, I said this last week, a little of the rearranging of the deck chairs on the Titanic feel to it for the Seahawks. But whatever they did last week, it worked. They got the victory that they needed. They got a long way to go. They're 4-8. They still have a chance, though. They still have a chance. This is the first week that they didn't talk about running the table, but they still have a chance to get to the right side of 500. And every year since 2012, they have finished above 500. Even the year that they didn't get to the playoffs, they were still 9-7. So they could still get to 9-8. And in the NFC, Mike, when you look at that playoff picture, who knows what is going to get you in? Is it going to be 8-9 as the 7 seed? Is it going to be 7-10 as the 7 seed with like a 7-way tiebreaker? We just don't know. For as crazy as the top of the AFC currently is, and really top to bottom, that scrum, that race for spots 6 and 7, you could even throw 5 in there, although it's going to be Arizona or the Rams, I think, at 5. The scrum for 6 and 7 is nuts. And the 49ers are in it, and technically the Seahawks are in it. They don't even fit on the screen.
Yeah,
the Seahawks are 4-8. They're not even on the screen.
Yeah, they're not even on the screen. You may have more confidence in them than me. I don't see them winning 4 of their last 5 or 5 of their last 5. I don't think they're going to make it. I think there's too many teams for them to jump. But to your point, I completely agree. That's 6-7. I mean, we may see that change on a weekly basis. When we show this graphic, it may look, I'd like to know when we first started showing it to the last of the season, how many times that thing has changed. Now, I know it changes every year, but man, this year it just does seem wild. And you're right. Is it an 8-9 team, is in that 7 slot this year? Or is it a 9-8 team? Normally, it's kind of been that way for the last team in the playoffs, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because we have seen wild cards win it, so just get in.
Yes or no? Knee-jerk reaction. Do you think the 49ers get one of the spots?
No. Knee-jerk reaction is no.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're consistent enough to. Well, yeah. I guess not being consistent would fit for the 7 slot, though.
Yeah. Well, that's right. And then that team that hasn't been consistent all year can get hot and run the table, although I don't think the 49ers have the quarterback to run the table because the quarterback at some point is going to betray you, just like yesterday, whether it's sack in the end zone or the failure to get the touchdown on the final drive. If you're going to be one of those teams that has to do it the hard way, and we've seen several teams do it over the years the hard way, like the Giants in 2007. They had to do it the hard way, go on the road every game, and they had a great quarterback, and they got it done. Made one of the all-time great throws in NFL history to get it done. Aaron Rodgers, 2010, they had to do it the hard way in Green Bay as the 6th seed. They got Aaron Rodgers. And last year, Tom Brady having to go on the road every week. You got to have a great quarterback if you're going to go on the road every week and expect to win.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.